music. Hey, Gabe.
Oh, hey there, Ian.
What's going on?
Hey, it's Wednesday.
It
Everybody
is.
knows what that means.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. on a Wednesday. That means it's time for Blank as a Fart.
I can smell it.
Welcome, everybody. Here we are. It's me, Gabe, and that's him, Ian. And we're here to watch another episode of Twin Peaks. Hope you're following along and enjoying the ride, just like we are. It's Ian's first time. It's my fourth or fifth or however many it counts for since I'm watching all these twice. But anyway, we've had a good run so far. What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, well, before I get into it, I think I just want to make sure everyone realizes that we really appreciate everyone listening and checking us out. You can find us on all major podcasting platforms. Just search for The Couch Co-op Show, and you will find Blacking as a Fart every Wednesday. We come out every Wednesday. You'll find it. You can also find us streaming live on twitch.tv/The Couch Co-op Show, like you can right now. Like, I'm surprised no one, like
this very moment,
like no one will want to just pop in and just like say, "Hey, your fart is smelly," Anyway, you can also find us on video form on my YouTube page, which seems to be oddly one of the most popular choices. Like, it's funny to me. I mean, you can watch us as video form on Spotify too, or on Twitch, but yeah, youtube.com/milkmanpictures, where I house all my podcasts. I have like 5 of them, and Blank as the Fart is one of the popular ones, and it sits right there, and I've gotten a lot of new subscribers to my YouTube page, and I imagine that you're friends. I don't know that, like, our iTunes, they're against iTunes or something, or Spotify, but they're okay with YouTube. I don't know. I guess
maybe they have subscriptions and they just take advantage of that.
Maybe. So yeah, YouTube's a great way to watch us and listen to us and check us out. So I appreciate all the new fans that are checking out this podcast. Unfortunately, not a lot of you. Occasionally, we get some comments on the post when we say we're going to post. We get some comments. But we have not had really any actual posts to say, hey, I listened to it and this is what I think. Like, Ian is a fucking idiot. Like, I'm waiting for Ian is so.
Why do you keep coming back to this?
Because, like, I get that this series has a magical aura around it, and that any detractor such as I would be like, Ian is just fucking stupid. Like, how can you? That guy can't be trusted. I'm surprised we haven't got much of that. Anyway, that's just what I'm saying. That's all I had.
Maybe they don't think you're entirely wrong.
Well, that'd be a first. That'd be a first, Gabe.
We have some people who are following along for the first time as well. So, hey, maybe they think your assessment is on the spot.
Dude, I would love to hear from them. I would love to hear from them. Just write in. We both would. Just write in. Like, just go to the Blank as a Fart Facebook or Instagram when Gabe posts. Just write your ideas and thoughts in, like, novel form, and we will read them on the air. I would love to read your comments of what you guys think of this show.
Yeah. Pitch us segments for the finale or something like that, because we're going to have to make the finale big.
Okay. All right.
Have to do something special.
All right. Rest in pain, Gabe.
Oh. Rest in pain. Oh.
Oh, tease. Anyway, go ahead. Let's do it.
Anyway, yeah, let's get on it. So we're off and rolling as we open on Cooper at the Great Northern, get a quick talk with Diane via the trusty tape recorder, before Audrey greets him in the dining room. They flirt a little bit, as they're wont to do. Audrey admits to writing the note, flirts some more, and explains One-Eyed Jacks, and then they start to make some connections between One-Eyed Jacks and the perfume counter, where Laura and Renette both worked.
All right, hold on a second.
Mm-hmm.
I think Audrey is my girl. Audrey is so fucking hot in this opening.
She's pretty amazing, isn't she?
She's like my choice.
On it this time,
she's my choice.
it's more noticeable to me this time around, and I really can't explain why. Because it was certainly noticeable to me as a 12-year-old. Oh yeah, I noticed her back then. But yeah, it's just she's she's got a timeless look about her. Like she's a beauty in any age. It's not a dated look. Like you don't look at her and think, "Oh my God,
100%.
that's so 80s."
It's funny too because Laura is supposedly playing as her like counterpart, like student. Like they're both students, but I believe Audrey is a student, like in high school. I don't necessarily believe that Laura is the same age. I feel like I don't know what it is about Laura, but for some reason I feel like anytime I see her, like alive, I feel like she's older. It's funny, but I wrote this. I
like
wrote
in the flashbacks.
Yeah. Or in the weird little midget scene.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, is it possible for Audrey and Cooper to be having sex without having sex, or is that just the jazz music? Like those two guys are fucking every time they're in a scene together. Like their eyes are fucking each other. Like those two are fucking, man. Like what is the age difference? I don't know. I should have looked this up, but like I'm curious what the age difference of them actually is.
Like in real life?
Like at that point, yeah, in real life at that point.
It was probably less than 10 years, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I thought they're probably pretty close. She's playing down and he's playing up, I think.
Yeah, but he does have a girlfriend, and it's not her.
Okay. Oh, in the show?
In real life.
Oh no, I get that. I was just like in the show. Does he end up
about real life?
No. I'm sure he does. I don't. Whatever. Yeah. No.
Right. Yeah. and that's actually going to be a point of discussion later on.
The other thing is
not for a bit. But.
The other thing is. Again, while these two are having their conversation at the table, I feel like that is shot really well. Like that one-to-one, like deep focus, steady. Like it looks not like it's video. And I was curious is this shot on film? Do we know if this is shot on film or was this shot on video? Do we know?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it's on film, but I don't think it's like, movie grade stock.
Okay.
Because there were shows like the primetime dramas, I don't think were on video like the sitcoms were.
Right, but like Friends was shot
I could
on
be
film,
wrong about some of them, but when you look at that Red Room sequence from the last episode, that was obviously done on film. That was definitely not video.
I just feel like I really like a lot of these shots are just really poorly constructed and bad, but like this conversation between Audrey and Cooper is just really simply done, but it's really well done. And I just look at it and it's like, oh, this looks like it belongs in a film again. Like kind of like last week's when Audrey and what's her friend's name? Laura's
Donna.
Donna. When they're having their conversation, it has this. It came back to that. It's like, oh, this is really well composed, really well shot. I mean,
the one at the diner.
They do the deep focus close up, obviously, which is fine. But yeah, it just looks really well. And then once that scene's over, it gets really wonky again. Like it's like I don't know. It's just like it's kind of funny to me. So I was just curious: is it shot on film? I don't know. Is there a 4K version of this? If there is, then it's definitely shot on film.
The box set only has 2 episodes in 4K.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
One of them is the pilot, and then one of them is from the return.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So I watched them both. The pilot, I wasn't really all that impressed by. Like the color in 4K almost seemed oversaturated.
Dude,
and I'm not sure whether that was just...
It's really
pretty
saturated now. I mean, that's another comment I have. It's like, I mean... I keep commenting about the pink last week, and it's just really warm. It's just overly warm. Like they're not white balancing to normal light. They're just making it. I don't know why. You'd have to ask, but it just is incredibly warm. Like it's just really red or pink or whatever. It's just the color. Like you and I, we look right now. Our color camera's kind of auto correct. Like the white balance kind of auto the light, but like they're just like purposefully making it look warmer, and it's just like what a weird interesting choice. It's just a weird choice to me. I don't get it, and it does drive me nuts because I don't really quite understand why. But
yeah, you don't know if it's stylistic or if it's just
it's got to be because Pacific Northwest is generally there's something else later on we can talk about why maybe that is. But generally, the Pacific Northwest is like a cold blue gray, and generally most things that are shot here are very dull blue or gray. Like they kind of go that colder color here, especially for something that would be like mystery, thriller, edgy, weird. But this is like, no, we're gonna go warm here, and I'm just it's an interesting choice. So
yeah.
All right, I'll stop talking.
But it's one that sets it apart for sure.
I again have a lot of notes.
Oh yeah,
I will say this, Gabe.
I've got a few.
Gabe, it's this. It's like I have a few beers and I have a drunk watch. So it's either a drunk watch. If I don't drink and I watch it, then it's a hate watch, because it's like I gotta I gotta set.
Well, we don't. Yeah, we don't want to hate watch.
I don't want to hate watch.
Absolutely. Let's have the drunk watch instead, for sure.
Because it's tough watch sober. Sometimes I.
Oh man, just you wait. Just you wait until we meet Billy Zane.
Oh boy.
Oh god.
Oh, when he can act. That's weird. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Okay.
He can act when you give him material.
Yeah.
So where were we?
Oh, so we were just Audrey. It was just Audrey and Cooper talking.
Yeah,
now
all we've done is Audrey and Cooper.
Now the second part of the conversation.
Right. So yeah, Harry and Lucy show up. They sit down to have Cooper explain his dream to them. He basically lays out what we saw at the end of last week's episode. A few more details than we saw in picture. Kind of wondering if those show up in the international pilot or not. I'll have to report back once I've finally done my viewing on that. So he explains the dream and eventually reveals that he does not remember what the name of the killer is.
Right. So like he says, I know who the killer is in the last episode, and then
it can totally wait till morning.
And then I love they all go, damn.
Yeah. Like they don't get angry about the fact. They're just like, okay.
I have a funny thing about this conversation that I thought was funny, that like it, as soon as I saw it, this is what it registered in my head, and so I wrote down. So this is not a tie-in, I'm sure, in any way, but this is a thing I pulled. Break the code, solve the crime. So the translation in my head was, save the cheerleader, save the world. And if you get the reference, we're not going to tell you the reference. But if you get the reference, listeners out there, there's a reference to that. Anyway.
There's a reference. Just nobody cares anymore.
Exactly. But I just thought,
I mean, I don't,
how perfect is that? And then, oh, yeah, well, this is borrow that. Or I don't even know if that's not even the case. That's not even the case. That's just kind of how some of this shit kind of comes together, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Listeners, if you recognize that reference, draw some comparisons between the two shows. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, that'd be funny. I mean,
it would be.
I imagine there's no. I just thought it was funny.
I never watched the other one, so
I only watched the first season of the other one. But like, break the code, solve the crime was just such a. We should take that idea and put it in our show. Yeah, save the cheerleader, save the world. That works, right? I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
Maybe I'm just
random
curious.
Word generator.
I'm just curious if there's some like Twin Peaks tie-in some person wrote on the other show, or like I'm just.
Oh.
I didn't dive into it. Didn't look, but I just like it's such a simple. I don't know.
Yeah. If somebody's like mining past success to try and.
Well, here's the other thing, Gabe.
Progress forward.
Just the cadence of that line is probably and the way they deliver it is probably the only reason it triggered it in my head. You know, break the code, solve the crime. It's just like da 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 da, and it's just like in my head it just unlocked this doorway, and it's just like, and I know it means nothing. I know it has nothing to do with anything.
Hey, you're right.
Same. But it's just funny. It's just funny to me. So this
could unlock some strands of a creative web that we haven't explored yet.
They're the
it's
same,
worth looking into.
The same universe. Clearly, they're the same universe.
Could be, yeah. I can tell you that I dug into a little bit to the credits on today's episode.
Oh, okay.
Nothing so far that links it to any modern era that we're currently speaking of.
All right. Continue on.
Yeah. So after we, oh yeah, so Andy gives Harry a call and informs him there's a fight going on at the morgue. That's our buddy Albert, good old Miguel Ferrer, is actually riling up Doc Hayward, who you really don't ever see get this kind of flustered during the course of the series. So it's the Doc, Andy, and Ben debating with Albert, trying to get him to release the body for the funeral. Albert's pretty insistent that he's got a lot more tests to run. Cooper and Harry eventually show up to break it up, and Albert, man, he goes on quite the tirade here. One of the moments of this series that definitely stuck out with me. So anyway, yeah, Albert runs his mouth. Harry throws a punch and knocks him directly onto Laura's body. Cooper shuts Albert down after he sends Harry out to the car to cool off. Yeah, tells Albert to release the body, and everybody else in the room thanks him. And then Cooper has a very personal moment with Laura. I don't want to say this was weird. I mean, it's the only thing that's weird about it is that she is a corpse, but
It's 100% weird. But like
it is
okay,
because he's treating her as if she's still alive, as if there's still a spirit in that body.
right. But he's also he's willing to also be like, it's funny he's really playing the good guy here, because I feel like from an agent standpoint, I would be on not what is his real name? I'm forgetting. Albert's. I would be on Albert's side. Like, you want to do a thorough autopsy before you relinquish the body, and yet Cooper's obviously just being. There's something interesting too later that unlocks I have to talk about, but like.
What the hell was he planning on doing with that drill, though?
Well, I don't know, but like,
what kind of test did you need that for?
Just an
aggressive drill into her face.
But here's, aside from all the story stuff that happens here, this sequence I wrote this paragraph about. The lighting in this sequence is so bad. And then it's the continuity of the lighting is so weird. Like, so you're in this morgue and you can tell that there's no light coming from above, and they're lighting it from the camera side. Mm-hmm. So then everyone's lit from the camera side, and then from the alternate side they're kind of shadowy. So, and as you watch that scene, when you go into the close-ups, then they start alternating, and it's just like a mess. So I watch it, and it's like, where's the light coming from? Like, where did the light go? And I'm just, it's usually I don't pick. I haven't in these episodes have I picked that shit. But this particular scene, I gotta feel like, man, we need to get this one knocked out. Let's just do this scene. We need to get this knocked out, because like shit is just coming from all directions, and it doesn't make any sense, and I don't really understand why he's doing an operation in the dark. Basically, it's fucking wild. I don't know, this scene. I just here's the weird thing. I generally, as a filmmaker, when I look at shit, I don't usually pick on the lighting. I'm usually pretty forgiving about that shit. Being an independent filmmaker, I'm willing to. But this one was like, where the fuck is the light on this one? Like, what is going on here? And why all of a sudden, if the light's on the camera side, is the side facing the camera dark all of a sudden now? I don't know. I was just like, it's a really stupid, nitpicky thing, but I just thought, like, this felt like a scene that was just needed to get shot, and they didn't have time for it. Like, it just felt like, and it kind of also, it's not the greatest acted. It's like obviously overacted weird, but it's just like such a bizarre, I don't know. From a production standpoint, I was just like, what the fuck is going on in this sequence? I didn't even know. Yeah. And also, like, when Miguel, I'm just going to use Albert, when he punches the guy, and then Cooper punches him over Laura, like the geography on that is wild, because
he has to twist and leap.
Yeah, he had to have leaped way over by her feet, and it's like he was up by. It's just wild. I was like, and
it's a weirdly blocked scene.
I 100% agree that no one's gonna pick that shit up generally, and like usually that's stuff that like just flies under the radar. But man, it was really apparent in this scene. And like as soon as the lighting set it off, I was just the continuity and the geography of everything really like I was on it. And like no other scenes in the rest of the show did it register. Like maybe it was poorly lit or poorly whatever, but like this one I just think they didn't really know what they were going to do here, and they just kind of did something. And I know what that's about. I know what that is. It felt incredibly like just shoestring, like independent film. Let's just do it. Let's just go. You guys just do your thing. We'll figure it out. That's just how it felt. That's how. And so I thought that was funny. So anyway, has nothing to do with anything, Gabe. Has nothing to do with anything of the.
But it's a filmmaker's perspective.
Yeah,
and that's
I guess
that's what we wanted to hear on this.
I mean, you totally get the fact once her arm was on the like hanging that he was gonna like pick it up and place it on her, and they were gonna share a moment.
Right.
I thought it was kind of weird though. I honestly was just thinking he was gonna put it up and lay it beside her. Like she's dead, so like when you're a cadaver, you just have your arms laying beside you. But he placed it up by her chest. Like it's just like.
Right, like she was sleeping instead.
Right, trying to humanize her, or like give her some like she's exactly. You were talking about earlier, like she's still alive in some way or something. It was very like that's bizarre.
Right, and yeah, but I think it speaks to Cooper's character and like what his motivations are and why he works as hard as he does at his job.
He loves Laura, but he wants to fuck Audrey. I get it.
Yeah, I mean the farther we get into this episode, the more we realize that pretty much everybody loved Laura. Like there were, aside from Audrey, it doesn't seem like there were a lot of people who did not like her. So maybe that's a jealousy thing on her part. Who knows? Let's see. We go quickly to the Palmer household. Leland's getting all doped up too because he can't keep his shit together. Poor guy. We get a quick introduction to Maddie, Laura's cousin from Montana.
And that's all we get from her.
Yeah,
we never see her again.
This episode. You do, of course, recognize her, though.
I don't recognize her. Wasn't supposed to recognize her? Oh, Gabe, I failed you.
It's you'll recognize her a little bit more later on, but that is Cheryl Lee. It's the same actress who played Laura.
Is it?
Portraying it is, yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Holy shit! Yeah. The glasses, like Clark Kent, Superman, dude, just didn't.
And the big brunette wig,
God, I didn't even think that was her.
Yeah, so that's her, and this was a part written specifically for her because Lynch wanted to keep working with her in a capacity that wasn't just a dead body, because he loved the work that he got to do with her.
I was just thinking like, the bad acting, man, it's just getting worse. Anyway, because they hug and she has this weird look on her face, and I just like,
yeah.
Anyway, whatever. All right. That I did not catch that. Thank you, Gabe, for letting me know that. Is that important in any way, or is it not important?
I mean,
like Laura is the.
It's hard to say that about anything you ever see in a David Lynch
that's true.
picture.
I guess that's why I'm asking.
So, I mean, is it like it becomes important to the story? Their resemblance does, yes.
Oh, okay. So this is the Twin Peaks, is what you're saying?
I wouldn't say that. It's not that important.
Okay.
But it's obviously a little bit of a Vertigo nod, I would say.
Okay. All right.
The old blonde and brunette, played by the same actress, two different characters. Are they or are they not the same person? Okay. Right. Yeah. So I'm sure there's an element of that.
That happens in Lost Highway too. She's a blonde and she's a brunette. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Related, not related.
Anyway. Yeah. So quick shot of Norma showing a parole officer what's what. Dude, that guy was slimy as fuck, wasn't he?
The parole officer.
He was like, "Hey, we're about to release your husband from prison. What is a gal like you doing in a place like this?"
Okay, here's the thing you gotta like. I don't know. So from this episode, previous to all these episodes, I thought the coffee cups were just standard coffee mugs. In this episode, the coffee mugs are like these coffee cocktail cups. Like they're like.
The like the narrower ones.
Narrow up. It's like, what kind of diner has this kind of weird ass coffee mug? So like I
remember them.
But were they?
I remember seeing them when I was a kid.
Okay, but like in their previous episodes, was that what they were? I thought they were just regular mugs. in the previous episodes. And so in this episode, it's like, whoa, we're stepping it up. Like all of a sudden we have like, and I thought this was just a one-off thing until the end, and then at the diner where they're all four, they all have them. It's just like, it's just someone just decided to say, fuck it, we have a new mug. And it's just like, they're funny, weird-ass mug. They're not a coffee mug. That's not a coffee mug. This is a weird cocktail, for a Spanish coffee or some shit. It's just a fucking weird mug that I thought was weird. That's all my comment is. It means nothing to no one. But like I was looking at that, it's like I've been to a million fucking Roadhouse diners in Oregon, Pacific Northwest, and they're white fucking mugs. They're not fucking cocktail shaped. Anyway, I'm just
I paid no attention to the coffee mugs.
I get it, but
I might have to go back and watch again, or keep an eye out in future episodes.
I just feel like this is like this idea of ideal Pacific Northwest, and it's slowly getting bastardized and morphed into this art weird. Anyway, I think it's all.
So you're wondering if he's making like gradual little background changes to make things seem more old-fashioned?
No, just weirder and stupid. Like not stupider, but just weirder and more. I don't know. It was just a weird choice. It was just a weird choice in my opinion. It's like, whoa, that cup is not a coffee cup. Like, come on,
all right,
man. Anyway, all right. That's just my.
All right. Here we go. Coffee
Come on.
Cups and bad lighting.
Did you not want to talk? Did you not want us to talk about any of this? Should I just keep my mouth shut, Gabe? Is that what you want? You just want to like.
It's interesting to hear what the stuff that sticks out to you is.
Oh, it was like a
I mean, there
honestly,
wasn't much to be taken from that episode aside from the sleazy.
No, there's a lot of stuff to be taken. I got a lot of stuff to take.
I shouldn't say from that episode. I should say just
this
from
scene.
That.
I mean, I get it was a pretty generic.
It's like 30 seconds.
But it's a pretty generic like parole. Like, hey, I know blah blah blah. Like, where's he gonna work? It's like, oh, well, I own the double R. It's like, oh, okay. Oh, you're really, blah 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 woman. That you must have a lot of suitors, kind of shit. And it's like, so like it's not new to me. But then like seeing there's like. What of all the shit that doesn't belong, that coffee cup does not belong in this scene. It should be one of those standard white, you know what I'm talking about, just those standard white fucking mugs you get at like Elmer's or Sherry's. Just like a fucking, just sits there. It's short and it's just normal. That coffee cup is there to aggravate me. It's to be like, why the fuck is that I've never been to a diner where you have a coffee cup like that. I've never seen that. Maybe someone has them in their house, one off, but you would never.
Maybe
because there's a company that sells coffee mugs to restaurants, Gabe, and we have all these signs, and the Double R does not look like a place that says, "Hey, we need to spend extra money on these off-brand ones," or not off-brand, but like this other model that is like $2 more expensive. Anyway.
No, but they might be like the kind of place.
But David Lynch should be like, oh, that's a weird cup. That's a weird.
Finds these 12 weird mugs at a flea market.
God.
And like,
oh, maybe.
How much can I talk you down to?
Fine.
Yeah, they're a flea market. Fine. Nora's cutting corners.
No, that's not why. Because then
Norma,
the shorties fit into the washing machine perfectly. So you can wash 1,000,000 of them. The tall ones, you're gonna have to like
Do you
fucking.
think they've got a dishwasher back there?
Oh my god.
You think they've got a machine? They
have health codes back in the 90s, early 90s. They still had health codes back then, Gabe. Come on.
Anyway.
The big coffee mug debate. The coffee mug debate. We need a t-shirt. Hey, someone out there, we need like the cocktail coffee mug that says "This is not a coffee mug." T-shirt. Anyway.
Our mascot is going to be Forrest Gimp holding one of those mugs.
Oh, good old Forrest Gimp.
Forrest Gimp. So we're heading off to not to the forest, but we're heading out in the wild where Cooper is impressed by ducks on a lake.
Oh yeah, and then
so you kind of get the impression he grew up in a city.
Ducks to dumb fuck. That's basically what I wrote for this sequence.
Pond.
I know, but it went from ducks to dumb fuck. My favorite character.
Oh yeah, your favorite character and your favorite actor in the whole show.
Actually, that's gonna get questioned here in a minute, but go ahead.
So yeah, Cooper needles Leo a little bit, and Leo basically denies having any kind of, excuse me, actual relationship with Laura, but claims he knew who she was because everybody did. Uses his wife as an alibi. We don't learn much else here.
No, there's something else that happens. Okay, no, wait.
What is there?
Real point. Wait. So ducks to dumb fuck. Oh no, keep going. It's later. Sorry. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then we're cutting here to the Briggs family getting ready for the funeral.
Right. This weird ass sequence.
More of these weird dynamics with the Major making just this fascinating speech, demonstrating his huge vocabulary.
Fascinating.
Hey, I dug it. And then, Bobby being his usual bombastic and overacting self.
So this is where I kind of like, ugh, Robert. I may prefer Leo at this point.
Yeah, Bobby's importance it grows diminished as we progress.
His acting skill diminishes as well.
Keep in mind he's only like 18, 19 at this point, I think.
Okay.
He's a young guy. This is very early in his career. Not that he's had like a notable career since.
It's also funny too because his father, the colonel or whatever he is,
the major,
like
yes,
he's in a position of power and control. Yet in the scene, his son is in control of it. Like his son is just out of control, but he's in control of the scene. I think. I feel like at the end when he yells, "Afraid! I'm gonna turn it upside down." He's like, it's just this like unhinged. He's just like, the father never had control of this kid. Like this, like.
But then they both instantly get it together once the mom comes in, and she's like, "Oh, everybody ready?"
Well,
and then
that's
they both
a good point.
Just, back to normal.
Exactly.
So I would argue that she maybe really runs the show here. But we do get to explore that family a little more, and there's a bit of an arc there that we get to see. So I actually kind of look forward to you getting to witness that.
Some more of his great acting.
An important part of the show.
I mean, I want to at the end. Okay, at the end of this,
roots for stuff that happens later on.
At the end of this season, I'm going to give the award for best acting, i.e., worst acting, to either Leo or Robert. And I'm just curious which one of them. I still think here's my thing. Here's the thing with Leo. Leo is bad acting. Robert is bad acting, but he's also bad overact. I mean, his overacting in this episode is ridiculous. Like the scene, we're not there yet, but when he gets to the funeral, that guy is like full retard. I know we're not supposed to use that comment, so I'm using.
It does come across as like high school theater to me. It's very juvenile, but I don't know. It seems rote, but the emotion in it feels genuine to me. Wow. The delivery of the line.
You are kind, right. Gabriel Beck.
I developed an attachment to this series when I was much, much younger.
No, I get it, 100%.
So that rings a little more true to me later on, even though I do view it through a far more critical eye. Like as a 12-year-old, that was an anchor. Like this, and I haven't brought this up yet, but this is one of those episodes that
oh really
several scenes stick in the brain for this one.
So this is like when Optimus Prime died for you, right here in Twin Peaks.
Yet.
This is not quite, almost, but not quite. This is like the fishing scene with Daniel. Like
this is more like Prowl getting his ass shot.
Gotcha. All right.
Prowl and Brawn taking the dive.
Right. I prefer Daniel fishing with Hot Rod, but okay.
No, that's a cheerful episode. This one is not cheerful.
I'm just trying to track us as kids and figure out where it crosses. Come on.
I'll tell you when the Optimus moment happens.
Okay.
It's a while yet,
Oh, a few more
but
episodes.
there is a moment.
Wow, this is
Yeah.
a long film of Transformers. Anyway,
Yes, it is.
continue on, my friend.
30 hours of Transformers. Where were we? Okay. We're back to the sheriff's station. Albert gives his results to Cooper and the sheriff. I've got a lot of notes here, so let me find some space to get comfortable.
Okay.
Albert confirms the substance in the diary was cocaine, and also that the toxicology report, which he pronounces correctly, shows that Laura was positive for it at the time of her death. He says that she was tied up using 2 different twines, only one of which matches the Pulaski girl. So his theory is that she was tied up at 2 different locations on 2 separate times, and he demonstrates the method which she was tied. Yes, sometimes her arms bend back.
Yes.
Also mentions some industrial soap that was found in a puddle and on the back of Laura's neck. Mentions about the killer or whoever touched the soap leaning in for a kiss. There are some bites and claw marks around her neck and shoulder.
The weird tripod, like the triangle bites. Like, what is that about? Like, what? That's weird.
Yep, you get an answer to that later.
Oh, so it's like a vampire. Cool.
Yes, totally a vampire with 3 teeth instead of 2.
I mean, it's Twin Peaks.
Has to make it weird.
There's a bunch of people with like 1 eye, so they could have an extra tooth. Come on.
Right. A vampire with 3 teeth.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, in her stomach, they find a small plastic fragment that is marked with the letter J. Albert says that he's going to take it to the main lab for reconstruction.
So it is part of the same deal. We thought it wasn't the same killer, but it might be the same killer.
What?
I have.
There's a connection?
Here's the thing. Well, the letter under the nails, right?
Yes.
So that's the connection, guys. Hey, don't make me spell it out for you.
That's the connection Ian's making.
Is there another killer that like injects letters into their stomach that I didn't know about?
Well, the stomach isn't like that's new. It's only been under the fingernails so far.
Maybe
Laura's the first letter in her
maybe
stomach.
she was sucking the other girl's fingernails, and then the letter choked, and it's like, oh, what was that? It's like, I don't know what that was. Anyway.
Anyway,
I don't really have anything to say about this sequence. I thought it was funny the way it was handled.
This is just this is informative. This is like,
what are your notes?
It explores. My notes were mostly the story-based ones, where with the details. But it's an informative scene. But you'll still do get the gist of the characters and their interactions. And Albert's still clear of disdain. He gets in that one little jab at Truman. Look, it's trying to think.
So that's actually pretty good. That's a pretty good jab. I enjoyed that jab. So my only one note, my actual really only one note, and the one I really care about. So at the end, once Truman leaves, Albert and Cooper have a little talk, and Albert wants him to sign this thing that
the doctor was
assaulted. Blah blah blah, and then Cooper's like, this might be the last bastion of goodness in the world, or whatever he says. His little monologue about this shit, and greatness, and you are just being because of where you're from, and you just despise. Anyway, I should write you up in contempt of all this kind of shit. And so Albert leaves, and then in my head I'm thinking and you can spoil this if you want to. You don't have to. But my conclusion was, after all of this, does Cooper move to Twin Peaks? Does he live there?
I mean, I can't really.
Oh, you can't. Oh, it's that.
Well, I mean, define what you mean by after all of this.
Well, after these 2 seasons, but before the return. So does he live there during the return? Has he taken up a place? Because my understanding is that here's the funny thing that
there is no way for me to explain.
There's no way for you to make
heavy spoilers. Okay. Yeah.
So
heavy spoilers.
Okay. So here's the other thing that I think that I find funny. So like he talks about all the good, like how there's everything good in Twin Peaks. This might become later, but I'm gonna talk about it now. So like, there's all these things that good, but like I'm not really me as a person. It's just like random shit that he like. I just find that he thinks it's out of the ordinary. He likes it, but it's like he thinks all these things are good in Twin Peaks, and I just it makes it sound like it's a place that he wants. It's the place he would like to be in.
He's definitely
like
giving that impression. Talking to Diane about buying property there.
Right. At the very end.
Yeah, he's clearly
right. Oh, well, he does that. No, he does that right after Albert. Right after Albert leaves, he's like, "I'm consider buying property there," and that's why that jogged that. And it's like, he likes the pie and the coffee and the trees and the ducks, and he likes everything that we find mundane and just normal about this area that he is fucking have a hard on for. Like ever since he showed up, he's just like, all these trees, what are they? It's just like he has a hard on for this place. And maybe it's not him, but maybe it's how maybe David Lynch is saying in 10, 20 years, everyone's going to have a hard on for the Pacific Northwest. You're going to have this influx of people that come out to this. And maybe we should blame this
prophecy, huh?
We should blame this fucking show for that. But it's just funny that Cooper's just like all these random things that like, coffee and all this shit that we just find mundane and don't give a shit about. He has a hard on for it, and I'm just like, he's got to move here, right? He has to live here. So like, I'm surprised, and it's fine that you can't talk about it. But I it'd be interesting if like. And maybe the whole return would be way different if he had moved here after season 2 and he had lived here, and then the return was a different type of a beast, and how that would affect. I won't know until I watch it, but I'm curious. I guess I'm actually really curious now. Like I didn't really care about who killed Laura Palmer, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
If I got to be honest with you, I don't really give a shit. It's somebody, I don't know. But I'm curious how Cooper ends up now. That's where I'm at right now. There's certain characters I'm curious about, especially knowing that this series goes 2 seasons in a film and then it has a return. I'm curious what happens to Cooper. Like what?
Now,
like does his optimism last? Does it not? Like there's a lot of interest. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You don't have to say anything. I'm just.
I can't.
This is
about Cooper's
No, I know
journey.
we're getting kind of.
Yeah, we're getting way
out of topic, but like this is
here.
kind of where I'm starting to buy in. And it's. I just like, can this guy really give it? Anyway, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, because he really does stand out as like this huge paragon of virtue.
And he loves this place.
He's identifying all the simple pleasures about this place, the stuff that people tend to take for granted.
Especially as we learn towards the end of this episode, this place has a dark. It's like it's kind of funny. Anyway,
yin and yang. You can't have one without the other, right?
Anyway, go ahead. What you were going to say? I'm sorry.
No, yeah, it's really obvious that he's taken with the good side of the town, and he being the good guy that he is, he wants to protect it any way he can, and he's really becoming invested in the town now, and like you are, we're all becoming invested in Cooper as a result of that, and I think a lot of that also speaks to Kyle MacLachlan's acting talent as well. Like he
is the most. I mean, I like watching Audrey too, but him and Audrey, they're like, I do really love, like when Cooper's on, here's the funny thing about Cooper or Kyle MacLachlan.
Mm-hmm.
Like his character is kind of just out there quite a bit.
Yeah, he's kind of got like the spacey kind of thing going on.
But it is a lot of fun to watch. Like, it's the most fun to watch in the show, I think. Like, it's kind of... Like, everyone else doesn't really know how to handle it, or they're... I don't know. They just don't... They don't handle it with the ease of which... And at this point, he's worked with Lynch a couple times, right?
Yeah, he was on Blue Velvet.
Blue Velvet and Dune, right? This is before, Anyway, so he's he
Yeah,
just
they're very familiar with each other.
Yeah, so I get he's like he has kind of a second hand or whatever with Lynch, and it's just, but it's funny how it's funny how it doesn't work, but all works. Oddly, like everything.
Yeah, Cooper. Yeah, and Cooper is definitely the glue that holds it all together.
100%. Anyway, I don't want to. Yeah. We're talking philosophy here in the Twin Peaks, like our philosophy of it, and I don't know how much of this you guys want to hear, because I could go into a lot of it. I don't know.
That's part of what we do here, right?
I guess
that's what the goal is to just see where the conversation leads.
You know what's funny? I think you know what's funny, Gabe, is like we had a lot of listeners, viewers the first episode, and it kind of dwindles down, and I feel like that's a shame, because these episodes are getting better and better.
Yeah, we're getting into more important stuff now.
We're getting more important stuff, but it's like, that first episode isn't representative of the second episode, and it is definitely not representative of the third episode, and it's not representative of this episode. I feel like the shit is just getting...
Yeah, we're adding a lot of layers.
There's a lot of stuff going on, and I feel like, hey, people, you guys gotta, hey, and chime in. Anyway.
Yeah, it's an epic. You gotta have patience with it.
Yeah. All right, let's... Oh, my God, okay, keep going. I don't know where we're at.
I do.
Does Cooper retire to Twin Peaks? It's the Albert... I think that scene's great, too, between Albert and Cooper,
Yeah, it very clearly establishes the hierarchy, for sure.
Well, it's nice when he is acting against, I feel like, a good counterpart actor, too, sometimes.
Yeah.
There's some kind of messy stuff with some other stuff, and it's nice when there's actual... Anyway, Albert gets pissed off.
Yeah, he doesn't always get a lot of good people to work with. Yeah. And if you're worried that's the last we'll see of Albert, you needn't worry. He'll be back. We love our Miguel Ferrer. So let's head over to Ed and Nadine's house, where everybody's getting ready for the funeral. Boy, is Nadine horny today.
I put Ed and Nadine make up sex.
Yeah, and then we get a little bit of the history about high school. Yeah. And how Ed and Norma were big high school sweethearts. We still don't know why they ended up splitting up, and why Ed ended up with Norma, I'm getting tongue-tied. Why Ed ended up with Nadine, and Norma ended up with Hank, who we still haven't met yet.
But he's getting out.
He's getting out. I'm not sure if he turns up next week or not. I still didn't do that scouting report, because I was running behind on my prep tonight.
It's all right.
It's okay.
We'll experience it together.
Talk a little bit about they reminisce and noodle a little bit, and James shows up, mopey as shit, declares, "Oh, I'm not going." Ed hollers at him to come back, but James gonna James.
All right, so this is interesting. So I put Ed and Nadine make up sex, okay, and she's really into it, and then I put Nadine is like my fucking ex-wife. And we all know how that ended.
Yes.
The other thing I noted.
Was it that bad, really?
Sure. Yeah. Do you remember my ex-wife, Gabe?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Okay.
Miranda, right?
Yeah, Miranda.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was awful. She's a monster. You know what's also funny about this scene, though?
Did she destroy exercise equipment?
She destroyed a lot.
God, I'm sorry. I shouldn't.
She destroyed a lot. No, you can laugh all you want.
I didn't mean to poke into that festering wound.
You can poke all you want. I wouldn't have brought it up if I wasn't open to a good poking.
Fair enough.
All
right. So we've got a comparison.
No, but what I would think was funny is just how much comparison this sequence is. Not so much from the parent side, but in the comparison to Lost Highway, when Liv Schreiber comes home through the door and the parents are there because they're talking about how they have to protect their son somehow. They're not talking about sex and stuff, but then I know you're probably not. This Last Highway lives rent free in my mind. Twin Peaks is a tiny crushed up, it is it's like a 2.5 hour Twin Peaks. But Liv Schreiber busts through the door and he's like, I gotta go, and then he has to leave. And it's like this whole it's like the same shot selection in my memory. It may not be that at all, but in my memory it's like,
I mean, that's weird because
the parents
Lynch
are
did not
talking.
direct this episode.
I know. That's weird, right? That's weird. But I remember him coming
it doesn't
in.
surprise me.
Anyway, it's very odd. And they look the same and
yeah, I mean, the director of this episode is very close to Lynch. I mean, big surprise there.
Just imagine Big Ed being
being
played by Gary Busey. Perfect. It's perfect. Perfect.
Okay, yeah.
All right. Anyway.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if we've gone over this yet or not, but I have not seen Lost Highway.
What?
So
I don't think we have been through this.
Some time. Yeah, I never have actually seen Lost Highway. So maybe
that's fine.
Maybe that's
so like
an episode on
funny.
its own for another day.
Maybe we should. We should just go through the.
Maybe we should do that at the wrap and see how they compare.
Well, I imagine. I imagine Mulholland Drive compares to this too.
Times.
I imagine all of them compare. I imagine Dune compares to this on some level. I don't know.
I think we're gonna have a harder time drawing parallels to Dune.
Not this guy,
but the others. I mean, the others. There's definitely roots, and yeah, we'll establish more firm roots on a couple of those later.
All right. So Ed, Nadine, makeup, sex, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna get more to Audrey. Can I just say, like, you're gonna get to this part, but Audrey is being hot again, and then she has secret passages.
Mm-hmm.
She has secret passages.
She does. She knows all the little hidey holes. And,
I would love
Great
to
Northern
find
and
her hidey holes.
How very crude.
David Lynch is the pervert, not me.
Anyway. Right? Yeah. Not you at all.
Not me at all.
But yeah, while she's in that hidey hole of hers, she's spying on her brother Johnny and Dr. Jacoby, as Jacoby convinces Johnny to remove his headdress for the funeral.
Because that'd be racist to go to a funeral.
I mean, among other things, but yeah, not appropriate on a lot of levels.
I guess
but
we didn't really talk about it last week. But he's like crisscross applesauce at the table. We didn't talk about it last week. He's wearing the Indian headdress. He's crisscross applesauce, and it's just this white dude, this mentally challenged. Did we talk about that?
We discussed it a little bit,
but not the racist implications of what he's doing.
No, not necessarily, or what inspires that particular look from him. We don't necessarily know. To be a hobo.
Do we ever find out why he?
I don't know. I don't think we really get like a backstory on that at all. Not to my recollection. It's possible, but if so, it didn't stick for me.
So this is like, is this is this racist in its own right that David Lynch is like setting this lodge, this Indian lodge that's run by these white people? Not racist in the sense that, but they're racist. Not that.
I mean, the Great
racist,
Northern Lodge, I'm pretty sure, was built by white people.
Right.
Like, it's a Benjamin Horne development, so...
But what I'm saying is like, they're racist in the sense that, like, there's, like, Indian totems and all this stuff in that lodge.
I mean, yeah, in the sense that they're white in the 90s,
so
and they use that as a marketable tool. Yeah,
right. Is that what we're going with?
I mean, that the Horns are racist? Yeah. Probably.
Okay.
From a money-making standpoint, they'll just do whatever they can to cash in. So yeah,
did you think
there's an inherent racism in that?
But from the 90s, did you think people would have caught on that, or they just think, oh, that's like going to Timberline Lodge?
I think people on college campuses would have caught on to that.
You think so? Okay.
Right. I think that kind of thing.
But did you didn't catch on to it as a 12-year-old because you didn't know?
That would have been perfectly normal to me in that day and age.
Right.
Yeah. So that wouldn't have struck me as.
That's what I'm trying to like gauge.
That's 30 years ago.
It doesn't hit hard. It's not like something that hits hard. You know.
I mean, right now that show is closer in time to My Three Sons than it is to us. So. Look at it from that lens.
I'm sorry for going too deep. I gotta shut up.
Okay, no, we want to go deep here. That's the goal of a podcast. All right,
let's go. All right. Audrey is hot though, dude. Oh my god.
Audrey is damn hot, dude. Not gonna lie. Audrey is hot. So yeah, Jacoby obviously has a good rapport with Johnny. You know, if he's able to talk him into going dressed normally to a big group event like a funeral. So finally, we arrive at the big group event, the funeral. My biggest note about this scene is like the priest's eulogy, in addition to being a really good insight into, the town's perception of Laura's character. I think that this is like probably the most solid piece of acting that we see in the series so far. To me, this felt like the most realistic moment. I don't know. It just seemed like a genuine. It seemed like a real eulogy to me.
Okay, interesting. So the funeral, I just put the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
My first initial comment is, how much product is in Cooper's hair? Like, his hair it's so much. It's so
dude, it was
plied.
standing upright out of his sleep the other night. So
the other thing is, there's like one wide shot, and then it's just all close-ups after that. Like, and I think
you kind of wonder if there were scheduling issues involved in that.
Scheduling issues or
Lara
just
Flynn Boyle
acting.
is not in this episode at all.
Acting.
Like you don't see even. Oh no,
she's in this. She's in this scene.
That's right.
But it's just a look. She doesn't act.
It's one quick close-up of her.
Yeah. And I think it's just because of that. Like, you can fake because... Okay, so it's all just close-ups, and that's a choice. And it's like a weird choice because it's like they're super crazy tight close-ups. It focuses everything out. Everyone is like... There's no, like, dialogue between people. It's just like a person has dialogue. So, like... The priest guy has dialogue, and then like Robert has fucking dialogue. It's just all these like close up and then like reaction shots. And then there's a reaction shot of Cooper and Audrey and their eye fucking. It's just like
their funeral.
And yet, you know what's crazy about that? You don't see them or where they are really in perspective of each other, but you know that she's looking at him and he's looking at her, and they're eye fucking,
That's a very good point. Yeah. You never, you don't get a direct perspective on where they're standing in relation to the grave.
And nobody really. I mean, and then, okay.
They just do it by a little clever direction of, she looks to the right, he looks to the left.
And, yeah, that's it.
And then they make the same expression.
So it's like...
So, yeah, but that's a very good point.
It's like, they shot this wide shot, and then were any of them around for any of this other shit? Who knows?
Yeah, and it's an interesting collection of people that are there for that wide shot. It's definitely not like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's Norma and Shelley and the log lady and Ed and Nadine, and then so it's a weird collection, and I think you're right. I think there were scheduling issues that prevented the entire cast from being available for.
And then this is where Robert
funeral shoot.
This is where Robert really sucks. I mean, this is some of the worst acting, but Audrey's brother, I forget his name now. Johnny does like a I don't know. He does something weird. He does some kind of like...
He says amen.
Amen. And then fucking Robert fucking amen, but fucking goes crazy. And it's just like... And then he comes out and he goes like, we killed Laura. We all killed Laura. This grand monologue he gives. It's just really awful. I mean, he's a really bad actor. And might be worse than Leo. That's my comment currently. They all killed Laura. And then I'm thinking so here, and everyone gets kind of crazy, and I go, and cut, credits roll. Oh, okay. And I'm going to say, and that was a fun podcast, Gabe. It was a lot of fun to do this podcast with you. Really enjoyed it. They all killed Laura. Who saw that coming? I didn't see it. All right. Well, everybody,
mystery solved.
Mystery solved. We'd love to, I'm sorry, that's what it is, but that's,
and that's a wrap.
It's not a wrap? Oh, shit.
Oh, not at all.
Anyway.
I mean, now, regardless of the overly melodramatic delivery, the point that Bobby is making here is a valid one.
Yes.
And that's something that nobody has pointed out yet. Bobby is like, hey, Laura had a dark side. Her dark side got her killed. We all knew it, and nobody did shit. And he's calling everybody out on that. So he is, whether or not he's a bad actor, the character in this scene is 100% right.
Yes, and it was good. It was, but like that, it was bad acting. But like, we're about to get to the worst acting. We're gonna hit, dude. I wrote, dude. The bad acting is peak here. Laura's parents. When Laura's dad jumps on the goddamn, it's just. This is just Lynch being a fucking. I mean, it's not Lynch. It's people. You know what's funny? People acting as Lynch. Maybe that's the problem here. I don't know, but holy shit, is this pretty horrifying? I don't even know what I don't even. This is comedy, right? This is just here. This is tragedy in the hopes of comedy. I don't know.
It's comedy and pathos all rolled into one at this point. I really think that's kind of how I felt about it.
It's so garbage, but it's just so painful to watch.
Before we get to that point, we do get James bum rushing.
Oh, he does show up.
Bobby.
He does show up. He
does show up, and he bum rushes Bobby on the line that Laura would have laughed at everybody's prayers.
Okay.
Which I thought was pretty poignant.
Okay.
So yeah, anyway, bum rush, and something I want to note that struck me as weird watching this as a kid was the switch to slow-mo during the fight. Not only in the motion, like in the visual, but in the sound. Like they slowed the speed. You are dead. Like that always struck me as a curious choice.
Can I tell you something that struck me as a curious choice? The FBI agent would not be standing in front of everyone else. He would be in the back observing the funeral. He would not be in the funeral. So like that is already
he's been in this town less than a week.
And he's
at front row.
He's a part of the family. Exactly. So like you watch any other funeral scene with like FBI agents that are a part of an investigation, they're very rarely a part of the funeral unless they're friends, and if they're not, they're like back observing the funeral.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so funny that Agent Cooper's just up there, cheery as a fucking clam, like
right?
Laura's going to the ground,
but with the local high school girls.
Like, I got my new family, guys. Oh, yeah. There's Audrey. Oh, I'm just gonna eye fuck her a little bit.
Yeah, think about what our babies would look like.
It's fucking crazy, dude. It's fucking crazy. Anyway,
so there's the slow-mo fight. I think it's funny that it took two guys to pull apart James and Bobby, but Hawk manages to put down Mike by himself.
And
I just took note of that.
And there's just a guy in a weird cop suit or something.
Which guy in the weird cop suit?
Isn't there like a guy in a uniform?
Oh, that's Major Briggs.
Oh, was that Major Briggs? He was wearing a hat, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had his uniform
hat
on.
He had his full hat on. Okay.
And his aviator shades.
Is that what it was? Okay. I was like, he looked different, so I was like, what is that? Okay.
That was Major Briggs.
All right. I might have been looking down and typing notes and then being like...
No, it took me a double take to figure out who it was, too. Because there are a lot of just like random people to fill out the crowd in that funeral, a lot of whom we never see again.
Right.
Who are completely meaningless. They're just,
There's like this weird short bald guy in the back. Like, I didn't know who that was. Like,
yeah, meaningless.
Anyway, sorry.
So there's the fist fight, and then here's the only note I made here was, and then Leland, the meme. Because like this is what I was talking about in the last episode, where my brother and I would just mimic this scene to make each other laugh all the time. There was a lot of my baby.
Right.
Yeah, it was very, even as a kid, this was like, oh, this is a ridiculous scene.
This is like the point in the show. This is like the point in the show where I'm like, listen,
this is soap opera shit.
It's soap opera shit, but it's like, hey guys, so 90, I wasn't making film, but like in 92, I started making films. I make Super Ninja, this really shitty thing. But it's like, how did this show manage for so long? And I know it didn't manage forever. It made it 2 years. But it's like, Super Ninja, when you compare it to David Lynch, is the same kind of shit, and yet I couldn't get. It's just a point that because this guy has a name, that I can't get money to fund anything, but he can make a whole 2 seasons of a show that is the quality of what I was doing. The quality, like the shitty quality. Like I could do better. Like I would do better.
So now imagine all of these like 1-hour drama series that only made it 1 season,
right?
That came out in this day and age.
Like the amount of waste. Yeah, 100%. No, I get it. I get it. 100%. I get it. So like, it's just disappointing, Gabe. Like, it would have been way better the first time we met. It's like, hey, I'm a filmmaker, and yeah, I get funding. And we should make a movie together, and it would have been way different than, hey, I have no money, want to be in my shitty independent. You know what I mean? It's just like. Dude, I can do David Lynch. Like, doing David Lynch clearly is easy. Like, there's 2 seasons of it proving that you don't have to be David Lynch to do David Lynch.
Now, remember, a lot of this material was not written by David Lynch.
No, I get it, but like, here's the thing. You say that, Gabe. Those 2 seasons, maybe David Lynch had like a hand in the first 2 episodes and the last 2 episodes, whatever.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
but
it was his
all
name
of this
that got
exists or ends on David Lynch. This does not, like, you could say so many other people had a hand in it, but David Lynch is to blame for all of it. 100%. 100%. Anyway, I'm just saying, like, I could have made this show blind. But I can't get no money to make a different show. Anyway, it's a frustration as an independent filmmaker. I'm dropping down. That's all I'm saying.
In this day and age, I hear you.
Anyway, it's like you know, there was a million at the time. There's a million grunge bands, and the grunge bands that didn't make it are pissed off at some of the ones that did make it. Slater Kinney, I'm looking at you. All right.
Yeah, but to me, the Leland scene, like, it starts off as like watching it today. This was my reaction to it. Seems just like,
did you feel
ridiculous.
You felt? Oh, it is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, and then it just starts to be pathetic, and then it becomes sadly pathetic. And then, you know, if you just kind of like put yourself in the position of imagine this is actually happening in front of you. And that there is like a man who is breaking down to the point where he's jumping on a coffin. I mean, like, it's not an impossible scenario.
But you know what? I would like the challenge. Here's the other thing. I would like the challenge to make that scene seem like fucking heart crushing, but also comically dark, but like for real. Like, I would love to see that scene where the dad is seriously broken up and he falls on the coffin, and because there's mechanisms in place, I feel like I get what they're trying to go for, but I feel like you could make it really dark and funny, but also really dark. I mean, I think you could make that happen. I just don't feel like they. But I also feel like this show, but maybe this show never wanted to. I feel like this show exists in a different spot. Like, it doesn't exactly exist in that trying to be real. It's like in this.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it incorporates elements of real, but that's not where its anchor is by any means.
I think this show's more interested in fucking than it is about dying. Like, this show's about like sex.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of that you could get away with on network TV in those days.
Right. So like, I would focus on like, fuck the dying. We want to like somehow get sex across.
Oh, we'll get plenty of that later on.
I know, but I think that's what David Lynch is like. Yeah, let's get like network TV. Man, we're gonna get these old guys fucking these young girls. Let's do it. Break.
Oh, just wait until you meet the mayor's wife. Yeah, that's going to be fun. So then we cut to the diner real quick where now I thought this was a weird thing for Shelley to do. But she's kind of like mocking the scene for the customers at the diner, making fun of Leland. Shelley doesn't really strike me as the mean girl type, she struck me as the nice girl to see her like mocking a grieving father seems kind of odd to me. But regardless, maybe she's just looking for some good tips. She's got them cracking up. Anyway, we go to the table where Sheriff Truman and Hawk and Ed are making a discussion. Ed seems distrustful of Cooper for some reason, but they're about to let him in on a big secret. Ed loses a quick bet about Cooper's perceptive abilities. Not like anybody else hasn't figured out that Ed's in love with Norma. And then Harry starts getting into the nitty-gritty of what's the dark side of the town, starting with the tangible stuff, which is the cocaine trade. They've kind of determined that this is run by the Renault brothers. Jacques is that bartender who slipped Ed the Mickey the other night. Harry kind of explains the darkness that surrounds the Twin Peaks and the secret society that has been formed to combat it.
Okay, boys. Before we get too far into this, so this is where I kind of talking earlier, because all the good things that Cooper loves, that's why Twin Peaks has such evil. So, like, he's from the city, like Albert, where shit is just gnarly. And Cooper is in love with the idea of this town having all these great things. The coffee, he talks about, again, the pie. He loves the fucking pie. He's in love with this town. Like, he wants to live in this town. That's why I asked you if he wanted to move here, or he does move here. So then this obviously is like the point where, like, well, all this great stuff is like, well, there's a
price that we pay for.
There's a giant evil, and this is like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. This is where we start to get the supernatural elements involved.
Or whatever. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're introduced now to the Bookhouse Boys, which is, the secret army of good that achieves good by any means necessary. So we go to their home base, known oddly enough as the Bookhouse, where we meet James and one of his biker buddies, who they identify as Joey. They have Bernard Renault tied up, give Cooper the chance to join in the fun interrogating him. You want to spend a minute talking about Bernard's retarded accent?
Hold on a second. Yeah. I can go back to before that. So the Bookhouse Boys. So the Hardy Boys grew up. Come on.
Interesting. Oh yeah. Frank and Joe. Yeah.
Here's the shitty shit about this shit. It's like at this point I'm like, so you're seeing this for like the second, third, fourth time. I'm watching this from my jaded perspective as an old man who's seen a lot of shit. So yeah, I'm making shitty comments like the Hardy Boys grew up, but like I'm seriously thinking in the writer room, come on, is this shit literally being written by a chimp? Like, oh, we got this stuff going on, we got an investigation going on, we got this. Oh, let's have a secret community now. Like, I'm just like, it's really starting to, it's kind of like, I have no faith in the writing right now, Gabe. Like, I literally feel like it's just like, we'll just explain that off in like a secret society group. It's like, oh, really? That's literally what we're going to do in the first season? I guess, and here. I 100% agree that we had never seen this back in the 90s. Nowadays, we see this shit all the time, so that's what I'm judging it from. But I've never seen this show before, and I'm judging it now, and I'm like, seriously? This is where we're going with this? Like, There's a secret group
Yeah, it
of like
wasn't-
cops and like underage teenagers and a guy that runs a gas station. There's a group of like
not
vigilantes.
unheard. Yeah, not unheard of for a small town.
Not unheard of. No, not unheard of. 100% not unheard of. So I'm just like, man, I wish I could have that chimp's job. Anyway, I could have written this with my eyes shut and two hands up my ass. Like I could have written this with my mouth and a pencil. Like,
Jeez, now you're just deliberately trying to earn hate from the listeners.
yeah,
dude.
100%. No, I think the listeners feel me. Like, this feels like it was written by AI. You know, kind of.
Dude, I just wanted to make fun of the dude's bad accent. That's
Okay.
all I was.
No,
going
we're
for.
getting to there. We're getting to there. Next quote. Next comment after all of that shit that went down. Great French accent. Would expect nothing less.
I don't know if I'd even call it a French accent.
I think that's what it's supposed to be. I
mean,
think
yeah,
it's
they're
supposed to
obviously
be.
supposed to be of French Canadian descent, but this sounded like,
Oh, I know.
he went down to New Orleans for Mardi Gras and
No,
went to a Creole restaurant.
I wanted to say, oh, this guy who voiced Gambit, but then I couldn't even do that because the guy who voices Gambit has a good fucking French accent compared to this. Yeah. Whatever this is, this guy was like, he was like told like 2 hours before he sat down, like, hey, this is the accent you're gonna do. Can you do it?
And this is another thing that even as a kid, I was like, this is, what accent is that? This is stupid.
It's so funny though, dude.
It's
hilarious. Like it's anyway.
Yeah. So this is, this basically just serves to point out that Cooper is, again, smarter than pretty much everybody he deals with when he points out that, hey, why would you immediately give up your brother while we've got you tied up to a chair?
Okay, I have a question for you. Is everyone
Yeah.
else, like Truman and Ed, are they more threatening now that they're part of this group?
Like, because they're acting extrajudiciously.
Yeah.
Judiciously.
They're vigilantes. Now that you know they're like the Batman, Batmen of Twin Peaks.
Where Truman takes off his badge and tosses it aside like, I'm not the sheriff now. Yeah, no, it's, I don't know. I mean, again, it's just kind of like, it feels like
unimportant because Cooper is still a badass and he's still like, okay, whatever. You guys do your own. You guys do your thing, but whatever.
He's just like, okay, yeah, here's your little club, but let me show you exactly how to make it 100% better in like 10 minutes.
Like Cooper doesn't care. Like, oh.
Yeah, he's like, okay.
And he's just still asking questions like Cooper does, and it's just like, meh. It's like whatever. You guys. It's just funny. It's just like, I don't know if it's unintentionally funny or it's meant to be funny. I don't know, Gabe.
I think there's a little bit of intention to it, especially like the one scene he had with Albert where the sheriff didn't mean anything by that. He hit me. Well, I'm sure he meant to do that.
Right.
That's obviously intended to be a comedic line.
Right. Okay.
Despite it coming from a place of logic. Like Cooper's not saying it trying to be funny, but it's funny nonetheless.
It's like no one's above Cooper. Does that?
I would say Laura is probably above Cooper.
Okay, fine.
If you look at how highly in regard the townsfolk hold Laura.
Sure. No. That's fine. But like, as far as justice in the town and how he deals with everyone else, like Laura's dead. So yeah, Laura's a thing. She's unattainable.
Well, and that was something we established in the very beginning. Like at the first day that Cooper met Truman, he's like, hey, the Bureau's in charge here. And Truman's like, yep, you're in charge here.
He just rolled over.
They're there to follow his lead. Yeah, because he's got no experience with this kind of thing.
Does Cooper's...
he's a small-town sheriff.
So does Cooper's law just last through all of this, or no?
I wouldn't say that, but again,
so he does. Does he meet an actual? What I'm saying is, does he ever meet an actual challenge?
Cooper?
Yeah.
Yes.
In this season?
Probably not.
All right. in these 2 seasons?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I'm curious about. Like, if he ever meets, like, he always.
Yes. Eventually, Cooper is put in a position where he has some impossible choices to make.
I look forward to that then, because I feel like he's like just like meh.
After viewing the whole series, like one of the arguments I've heard made like in online discussions and philosophizing about the series as a whole is that Cooper's hubris is his fatal flaw.
Oh, okay. Well, I can see that. I can see that.
This notion that he can triumph over any adversity, any form of evil. Excuse me.
The no-win scenario? Are you saying that he can't win over the no-win scenario?
The Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah, he can't do it.
It's who's to say?
Who's to say?
I don't want to spoil too much, but like
you don't have to.
That's the notion that he can save anybody or anyone eventually may or may not be his undoing.
I think you have to be that way though if you want to be a good federal agent. Really.
I think that's a very good point. But ultimately, where does that path lead?
Does it break him?
And
that's the other thing. When he loses the first time, does it break him? Or is he still the same dude? Anyway, we don't have to get into that. We need to finish this episode.
What makes you think he hasn't lost once or twice already?
Exactly. And the fact that he's still here.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, moving on.
I think we're yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, anyway, the reason Bernard is not all that afraid is because there's a red light on at the top of the roadhouse, which lets Jacques know that Bernie's in trouble.
So we got to get Leo.
So Jacques immediately goes to the payphone, gives Leo a call, and lets him know we need a border run. I got to get the fuck out of here. Yeah, quick call to Leo, who emotionlessly tells Shelley that she doesn't need to know where he's going. She takes the opportunity to hide her brand new gun right where she keeps the bloody shirt.
Yeah,
what's she gonna do with that shiny thing?
Yeah, I put that like Shelley doing work, hiding her gun with the bloody pants.
Mm-hmm. Yep. She might have a plan here,
Shelley is my number 2. Like Audrey's first.
When I was a kid, Shelley was my number 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Shelley wasn't a troublemaker.
Shelley's kind of a pussy, though. I mean, she should stand up to Leo because Leo's ain't nothing. Audrey,
hey, we got a lot.
I think Audrey would put fucking Leo in his place. She'd be like, "Get Audrey's too much power."
I think that's a fair point.
I think that's what is attractive about Audrey. She's like just power. She's power incarnate. That's probably why Cooper likes her. Anyway.
She does have a magnetism to her, doesn't she?
Be having this conversation? Probably not.
And, she's in her 50s now, so it's all legal.
I'd probably still fuck her. Anyway.
Yeah, Jacques calls Leo for a bailout. She's got a gun. Oh, okay. Now we're off to Josie and Harry hanging out on the couch. Josie's filling Harry in on Ben and Catherine plotting against her. For some reason, she leaves the intercom on so Catherine can hear every damn word.
I didn't understand this.
I mean, what the fuck? That just seems like shitty writing to me.
It's just a plot device. It's just a really lame
writing, but yeah, it's
a really lame plot device.
That is an exposition necessary plot device. It just
or
just like she might as well have been standing at the top of the staircase for all the good it did. Just some other way for her to be able to overhear the conversation.
And then that whole thing with like him looking for his tackle box. Have you seen my tackle box? He's like, and she's like, whatever how she is, she's just being a bitch about it. He's like,
down,
I'll just look in the truck where it probably was. So like, why are you even asking? I don't know.
Yeah. So
a lot of that seemed just pointless.
Talk to Catherine for
all
her
that
to give
seemed
that
pointless.
Speech.
Like, why not just listen to that and then just end the scene? Like, it just seemed so funny to have him come in. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, it did seem to get extraneous for a little bit. Aside from the fact that like Catherine demonstrating that she knows that Pete is on Josie's side and whatever power struggle is going on here.
But there's other ways. We already know that, actually. Like from
that Catherine knows that Pete's in on it?
No, but okay. Maybe she doesn't know, but we know that Pete's on her side.
Yeah. But
So
now Catherine knows, and Catherine's
Oh.
holding that over Pete's head.
Okay.
Now Catherine has control over Pete again.
I don't know. I feel
Is
like
basically
I
where
feel
we
like
are
she
at
could have
that.
picked that up from all the other shit that she was a part of. Like,
Probably. Catherine's pretty savvy. She's probably one of
yeah,
the more
right.
savvy people
So
in
I don't know
town.
if we needed that, but whatever.
But yeah. So yeah, anyway, Josie tries to show both of the ledgers to
Wait.
Harry,
We're
but
gonna
one of
pull
them
this
has
back
already
a little
died.
bit. Why not save those 30 seconds there that you wasted on the good lighting and having Pete talk about his tackle box, and spend them on the morgue scene that is just fucking trash in this show, and that lasts like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Like, hey, come on, guys.
Dude. Do you think Piper Laurie would perform for trash lighting?
Exactly.
Absolutely not.
But
Piper
you only
Laurie's
need
done film.
Anyway.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, just trying to optimize production.
I agree with you 100% that the morgue scene was way more important and deserved more care from a production
Than
standpoint
this. Holy
than
shit.
this. Absolutely. But who knows how many different scenes they filmed on that bedroom set that day. There's
Just
quite a few of
nudity,
those.
just fucking raw dogging. It's pretty great.
Raw dog. Oh, totally. Jacoby makes a late night visit to Laura's grave where Cooper is waiting for him for some creepy reason. He kind of explains how his profession had made him numb to people until Laura brought that all back in him. Oh,
dude, this
to everybody.
This cemetery scene is crazy.
Yeah,
because again, why is all the money on that production wasted? Like, what is even the importance of this scene? I don't really understand the importance of this sequence. Really?
It's just it's a little bit of exploring Jacoby and his motivations here.
And then the light is so it's like sunlight is on everybody. Like, it doesn't look like it's at nighttime. It's like, it looks like you guys are in a cemetery in a studio with lights overhead. Like, it's so everyone's just
or it
lit.
Looks like there's a light set up so the gravedigger can see.
Everyone's perfectly lit, and it's just like, you know what, guys? If you're gonna do this scene, just have you guys two together and like poor lighting and just kind of do it like you did the fucking morgue sequence, and then spend the rest of the time like.
I do want to point out that I think Jacoby gets the best costumes of any character on the show so far.
Oh, I mean, not in this one though. I don't think this.
No, you don't like
this particular costume isn't that great, but he does have other great costumes. I 100% agree. But I'm just like, I don't really understand this scene, its importance really, and it could be shot in like half the light. Anyway.
Yeah, the only other importance I would assign to this is that Jacoby is still trying to keep his relationship with Laura secret from the public for some reason,
okay.
Which we haven't really necessarily. I mean, we don't know why that is at this point, and I don't know. I don't necessarily want to say we ever figure out why, but
I always find it surprising that Coop is just hanging out there. Like, why is Coop hanging out there? Like, it's never explained. Never says why. It's just like he's just there.
He's clearly expecting something while he's waiting there.
Right, but
I don't know if it was specifically Jacoby he was expecting, or if he's just, scouting out to see if the killer visits the scene of the crime, or, some kind of
it just feels like a chimp is just typing like, oh, let's have Coop at the cemetery. It's like, why?
Not a solid explanation behind that. I'll agree.
There's a lot of questions that I have. Anyway, go ahead.
Back to Josie and the sheriff. Josie talks about how she thinks Andrew, her husband, Catherine's brother's death was suspicious. Starting to imply that Catherine might have had something to do with it. Maybe Ben Horn too. And now she's worried for her own life.
Holy shit. You should be.
Yeah.
Twin Peaks.
Anyway, Harry promises Josie nothing's going to happen to her except maybe getting banged on an oriental rug on the floor.
Oh, so hot. Not really. I mean, I've been there. I've been there with an Asian on an Asian rug. I get it. But
Jesus Christ.
I've been in that situation. Let me tell you.
This is the most insensitive episode we have recorded thus far.
Not racist.
So not PC, folks. Oh, we feel bad for this one already.
No, I'm not being
Oh,
racist.
Lord, Lord, Lord. No, no, no.
Come on, come on.
No, not racist, but oh, man.
The Asian rug was fake.
It was
I
totally
could,
from Pier 1.
I couldn't.
It came straight
come
from
on.
Pier 1.
I couldn't afford a real one. Is that? I don't know.
So yeah, something I want to point out in this is like, it really feels like Josie is obviously playing the sheriff somehow.
You think so? Because I feel
Like
like
whatever's
Josie.
going on between the two of them, like the sheriff, he's like all in. Josie's just kind of like, whatever.
See, that's different. I feel like
Oh.
Josie is about to die.
So you think she's genuinely in danger because of this whole sawmill thing?
Yeah, I don't. I feel like she's a character that is not being fleshed out in any way. In any way. She has all the reasons to die, and I feel like she's been set up to die, and then that'll feed the sheriff to want to do more. So I mean, you've seen this obviously, so you know, but I just feel like so far she's really only been the damsel in distress and the fuck buddy. You know, she's not really. There's no other like. She hasn't been out like, oh hey Coop, oh hey have some donuts, which is weird because this episode has no donut jokes in it.
Oh yeah, no donuts at all.
But yeah, I don't see her making it. Maybe she does, but I just feel like she's. I know you can't
think
say
she's
it.
at risk here.
You can't spoil it, but like I feel like she's at risk. I don't feel like she's a. She's not that great of an actress either. She's kind of. But I mean, that's such a
Maybe
fucking. That's just a fucking large ask when I say like most of the people on this show are not a good actor. She could be good. I imagine she could be good, but I just feel like she's just being set up to fail right now. I think that's my opinion. She's being set up to fail. So.
Interesting take.
Okay. All right. And no donut jokes, man.
No donuts. No. Oh no, they do mention coffee.
They do mention coffee.
I don't think we
he
go a
has
single
pie.
episode without mentioning coffee.
There's always coffee.
This is where pies go to die.
Yes, but there's no donuts this time, which I found surprising.
No donuts. We do get Cooper and Hawk drinking a beer, though. I think this might be the only time that Cooper is depicted drinking a beer in the entire series. I could be wrong about that. I'll have to keep an eye out. But they have a quick talk about Hawk's Blackfoot heritage and the concept of multiple souls.
Oh my god!
One being the dream soul that might walk into the realm of the dead.
Yeah. Want me to get? Want me to give you my? Oh no, you give your take, and I'll give you my take.
I didn't really have a take on that.
I have
it's just random philosophy.
Dream souls is what it takes to get through this nightmare.
So you can sleepwalk through the next episodes?
Nah, it was a joke. I just came up with it. It is funny, that there is this other deputy that is an Indian who doesn't really do much, but he's always set dressing. It's funny. It's also kind of shitty because, from a racial standpoint, he has a job, but he never does anything really. So this is the first time he's really said anything.
Well, they do have the point in the show where Truman mentions that Hawk's the best tracker that they have.
Okay, fine. Sorry, Gabe.
So, I'm pointing out his good qualities.
Let me put your white purity at ease. Okay, that's fine. I get it. I agree.
Feed into my
that.
savior complex.
Yeah. Okay. Let's make them all feel better. Okay. But it's just it's just kind of weird, and this is the weirdest. I don't know. He's so aloof, and it's just funny character. I don't know. He
is. I agree. Yeah, aloof is a very good way to put him. He kind of feels like unperturbed by whatever is going on around him, regardless of how odd it is or how upsetting it
And
is.
maybe
He just kind of approaches it all the same way.
do they
And I
get
think
do they
that's
get
just-
do they get more into his character at all? Do they give him a bigger part? Because I would love to see, like, here's the thing, like, if you really cared about the Native Americans and their idea and the fact that this is an area of darkness, I would give him a lot bigger, like, the whole idea of, like, the white man being douchebags, and, like, I would have centered it more on that, and then given him a bigger place in the story because of it.
I wouldn't ever say that Hawk ever takes the forefront in the series. No, he gets plenty of screen time. He's a solid hand. He never disappoints.
David Lynch, white old man doing white old man things. Gotcha. 10-4. Gonna rack it up on my bowling card. Got it.
Hey, at least he cast an actual Native American for the role.
He did. Actually, one of them. Yeah. Cool.
So,
all right.
Give him credit for that.
In the 90s, I will.
Anyway,
now, I will not.
Nah.
Diminished returns.
So anyway, after this brief discussion of philosophy, we got another famous freak out from Leland. Some more jazz comes on, so naturally he insists on dancing with whatever woman is on the dance floor, has another breakdown, and is eventually carried home by Hawk and Cooper. Roll credits.
Okay, no. So this actually is how I would have actually... This is my Lynchian thing. I would have had Cooper dance with him. 100%. I would have had everyone just like
the scene in Awakening.
Everyone freaking out, and then I would have had Cooper dance with him in this really weird Lynchian way, and everyone backed up. That's how I would have ended it. Like, I would have, he just danced slow and just rolled the credits over the dance the entire time, and that's how I would have ended it. Like, they ended it in such a fucking... I don't know. I felt robbed. I felt like he should have danced. Like, just let him. Like, Cooper understands. Cooper is in love with Laura. Like, no one wants to say it. We don't want to say it, but he's having dreams about her. Cooper's in love with her. Cooper understands how much her father loved her. Not in the same way, but loved her. And I feel like they should have danced. I feel like that would have been more of a poignant moment.
Okay.
And that's how I would have ended this episode. The fact that they just kind of like, oh, you're just a blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, I feel like there's a missed opportunity there. And like that, I think that would have been incredibly Lynch if they would have danced it out.
And it would have been true to Cooper's character in that he was, it would have been a display of compassion.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. Yeah, I like that.
So that's where I leave the episode, and then it ends. So, but it 100% though, 100% these episodes keep getting weirder and weirder and weird. Like it's not like even if it's filler, it's like fucking psycho. The shit just keeps. I don't know. At some point I imagine they're gonna get fillery and stupid, but like right now it's just like
keep in mind season 1 only 8 episodes.
Okay, right,
because it was a mid-season replacement, so we're not going to see much of anything fillery in season 1.
That's good.
But once we get past that, you might see some fillery stuff. Maybe some fillery stuff.
How do you feel about my takes so far, Gabe? Like, I mean, this is our 4th episode. I've speaked a lot of trash.
I mean, you seem unnecessarily harsh today in particular.
Harsh? I felt... I was pretty harsh last week, I thought.
I don't know.
No, what are you talking about? I finally said I loved Audrey and I want to have sex with her. Multiple times. Very positive. She's a very good actress. She looks very hot.
That's true.
Show. I was very positive. Yeah. Come on. You can't... I was positive toward Leo this time. I shifted my negativity.
Positive toward Leo?
I shifted my negativity towards Robert.
That he was the least worst.
He's not as bad as.
He's not the worst anymore.
Yeah, Leo is not the.
That's the one positive thing you had to say about Leo.
I think it's great. I think it's great. We were talking like when we go from the Ducks to Leo. Leo's cutting wood. He's clearly not cutting wood. He's just throwing an axe down on a
axe into the stump.
Into a stump. Like it's just over and over again. And it's like, Okay, that's cool. Okay. But like, you know what? I didn't point that out till now. Only because dude, whoever that dude that plays Robert is not good.
Dana Ashbrook is the name of
Dana
the actor.
Ashbrook. Dana Ashbrook, do you still have a job? Because holy, you should not be working if that's your. You should be probably a dentist. I'm thinking. No, I liked. Here's the funny thing.
Hmm.
I liked the pilot film thing the least. I think that so far as
Yeah, I think that's, you
things
don't
have gotten,
get everything out
I'm
of
starting
that.
to get into it. I am into it. There's characters I don't like.
I mean, but like you said earlier, you're invested in Cooper now, and
Oh, I'm very invested in Cooper.
that's what carried me through the series. That's what carries a lot of people
I'm
through the
invested in
series.
Audrey. I'm invested
Invested
in
in Audrey.
Shelley. I want to see Shelley overcome Leo. I'm invested in that concept. I don't know if it is a concept, but it's a concept I have. I obviously I like Audrey. Obviously, I don't really know how she. I don't really. I mean, her family is wealthy. I don't know. She can't really fail at this point. I don't know. She could lose somehow. She could die, I guess. I hope she doesn't die. I like Cooper. I don't really care who killed Laura. Clearly someone did.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of seedy shit going on in the show. But
Yeah, and
does any of that
weird
have to
talk
do with
about that.
Laura? I don't know.
Some of it does. I mean, she's
The
obviously tied in
the
cocaine
cocaine
trade
drug
somehow.
shit probably has something to do
Yeah,
with it. Sure.
yeah, and that's funny. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but Dwayne Dunham, who was the lead editor on the series, who directed one of the episodes earlier that we discussed, one of his takes on the series is that yeah, Laura's murder is just kind of the MacGuffin. It's just
Right.
really
Oh,
this one
100%.
event that ties the whole town together. And yeah,
Do,
as we did mention earlier, Lynch and Frost never really wanted to reveal
right.
who the killer
Right.
was. They knew they had in mind who it was going to be, but it wasn't important to them in the story they were looking to tell to reveal that.
I
It
get
was
that. And I would
eventually
be
forced. It
less
was forced upon them by the network.
See, I get that. And I would be less interested in them finding it out and more interested in like Cooper. I guess in my head, and maybe this is a show that would never exist now, but like you would never figure it out, but Cooper becomes settled and seeds into the town. Like him seeding into the town and becoming a part more and more and more and more and part of the town is more interesting to me than actually figuring out. Like maybe he never figures out who kills Laura, and that's part of it. And that's kind of the thing that he never figured out. But then he figured out all these other creatures of the weeks. Your show was, oh, he figured out this creature of the week. He figured out this creature of the week. So he's done a lot of great things, but he never figured out the thing that he was called here to do.
Right.
Even though
kind
he
of like
lives
the same premise that The Fugitive was built on.
right, but then he lives here and he's now a part of the town, and I feel like that's an idea and a concept that's very interesting. Obviously, I don't think that's going here. You can't really tell me because I don't want you to tell me.
Hey,
But
and maybe it's something they did pitch around the writers' room at this point. Who knows?
anyway, there's
it's
there's a lot of it's
the possibilities are endless at this point.
they're endless,
we are wide open
but they're also not endless. They're all also very limited.
to an extent, yeah.
But anyway, no, I was very. I don't hate the show. I was very like at that first pilot thing. I was very like, oh my god, how am I gonna do this? Because I'm not really.
You don't get a lot of the good stuff in the pilot. Like you don't get the Red Room. You don't get. I mean, you get an idea of Cooper's weirdness, but not a real good idea of it.
But there's not. There's
you don't
also
get any
not.
time
There's
with
also
Robert.
not really like. It's so dated at this point. There's also just a very. It's a very difficult thing. So.
Yeah, and it was very experimental and done on a shoestring budget.
Right.
And, yeah.
You get
So yeah,
the
it's
feeling that he's
very
like really testing out a lot of film ideas here. Like you get like Lost Highway, you get the Mulholland Drive, you get a lot of these ideas that he was testing out for films. Like, was this just a
yeah. It almost
playground
feels
for
like
him to just be like, oh, let's see how people react to this,
I think
or
that's yeah. I think that kind of was what all his projects are in a way.
maybe it's very
I think
interesting.
everything is yeah. He's got some very similar themes that run through his work. Like exploring that seedy side of the idyllic town, the two sides of people in general, and how they present themselves.
And wouldn't
And
you,
yeah,
if you were giving license, if you were a filmmaker, you were given license to like just work on a show for a couple seasons,
mhm.
wouldn't you be like, no, let's just hey, try this, let's throw this in here? Like, wouldn't you? You would try shit, even knowing like if it gets canceled, I don't really give a shit about that, because I'm a filmmaker. If I'm doing TV, it's just like they don't. You can just throw away like they just don't get it.
Yeah,
You can just use that. And then 2 years later he makes Lost Highway, and then next year he makes Mulholland Drive and Best Actress, right? Didn't she get Best Actress for that shit or something? Like,
I think she was nominated. I don't know if she
anyway,
won.
you get a lot of you start getting some like whatever. But
Yeah,
there's some I think there's some pretty heavy question marks on this show. Like I'm not gonna let
yeah.
him. I'm not gonna let him.
Particularly,
I'm not gonna let him go easy, Gabe. I know you love him. I'm not gonna let him go easy.
I understand. I want to remind you that we're looking at this through 30 years of refinement from
Oh,
technique
100%.
and the like. So
I hope our listeners can understand that too.
I hope so as well.
And I hope they can understand the fun that we're having with it. Like, like
Right, that's the idea.
it's enjoyable to watch. It is fun to watch. It is funny to watch, and a lot of times it's just it's
No, and there's
you
in
watch
these
it and you like, I can't believe this got made sometimes. Like, literally, I can't believe this was network television. Like, this was allowed to be made.
yeah. Sometimes in a good way, like in the Red Room scene, and sometimes in a bad way.
Him
we'll see
jumping
a
on
lot
the
of
him
those
jumping
bad-
on the coffin, and it
Right, yeah.
like,
We'll see
what
a
is
lot
that
of more
about?
of those
Like,
bad ways later
I
on.
can't wait.
Just can't let go.
Yeah, some more horrors just like in the Red Room, just like,
Yeah.
you need more sex on TV, and then you need less guys jumping on a coffin on TV.
Right.
You know what I
Nobody
mean?
likes to see that.
I
Should
don't
people
know.
be having sex on the coffins then, or
I
is that the solution? If we have to have the coffin in the shot?
Gabe, your lips to God's ears.
Just a tiny little bit of trivia to go over
Oh, we got some
today.
trivia. Let's do it.
Nah, not much. Just want to mention that this episode originally aired on April 26, 1990. Still in the Thursday night time slot at this point, opposite Cheers. They netted 16.7 million viewers, which is still not bad.
Where
That's an
everybody
11.3
knows your
rating,
name.
and they were 45th for the week.
45th for the
So we will notice that these ratings are trending downward as the season
Who is this
progresses.
directed by this week? I didn't write that down. Did you check it?
I am getting to that, yeah. That's the remainder of our trivia as I looked up
is
our
it?
director and our writer. Yeah. This week's episode was directed by Tina Rathborn. There is scarce information about her. She has no credits after these. She has 2 episodes that she directed, and she has no credits after this. She does have a preceding credit for directing a feature film, which was called Zelly and Me. This was a film about a nanny that protects an orphan from an abusive grandmother in 58 Virginia.
David Lynch, you scared her into hiding. She never made a film again.
Oh, no. See, they're friends because this film, Zelly and Me, stars Isabella Rossellini and
Of course.
David Lynch in an
my
acting role.
Of course.
So, yeah, that was her big project. After that, she directed 2 episodes of Twin Peaks and then dropped off the face of the earth. All I could find about her really on Wikipedia was that she was Harvard educated, She married some real estate guy named De Normandy. They were together from 73 to 87. They divorced and then remarried and had kids.
Wow.
And then they divorced again, which was just finalized this year.
Holy shit.
Apparently, they came from like some serious old money. These were like 9-figure millionaires here.
So she didn't need it, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Like she just became a wealthy socialite. I did find an article on the Daily Mail.
Holy shit. Holy shit. Look at those pages of
This
Daily
is going to
Mail.
be a weekly occurrence, this camera error
Well, I
here.
gotta take a fat piss, so.
So do I need to wrap up or do you want to break?
If you, how much talking do you have left? You have a lot of talking?
Just a little bit. No,
okay, I'm gonna go piss while you go. I gotta piss so bad.
All right.
Just talk.
I'll ramble on about the director here. So anyway, yeah. This director, they came from old money. This article I read on the Daily Mail, which is a garbage site, by the way, so take this with a grain of salt. But anyway, there are serious disputes about the money. Apparently, he spent $500,000 on wooden ducks, and she spent $80,000 on toothbrushing for the dog. What else should we discuss while Ian's away? We'll go over the writer a little bit, or we could wait for Ian to get back for that. Do I have any other notes about Tina Rathborn? Yeah. No. So, what I'll do now is I'll take this opportunity to point out that I am obviously not in my usual digs tonight. I am house sitting for my friend Domer. Yes, the very same Domer who wrote our theme music. The name of that song is Big Old Dead. You can find that on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube, basically any one of your favorite music channels. I think I have a copy of it right here that I can show off. I know that's going to look backwards to you. But yeah, this is the album that song is from. So if you've got some time and some inclination, check out the rest of the songs on that album. It's good stuff. You might be able to see some of the basses behind me here. I couldn't tell you for sure whether the bass was behind me were played on that song or not, but it's a possibility.
Holy shit, I'm getting old, Gabe. I can't hold it like I used to could.
Dude, yeah. I made sure to go right before we started recording.
I did too. I did too.
Did you?
But, you know, you're just drinking like a glass of whiskey. I'm drinking like 20 beers here.
That'll do it. We're going to have to get you a jug for recording, man.
Dude, Gabe.
Cut out one of those old detergent bottles.
Well, okay.
So yeah, while you were gone, I pointed out my on-location filming site here and
it's cool.
Plugged our friend Domer and his music.
Can you play bass, Gabe?
Very badly, yes.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't realize. I mean, he has so many basses. I mean, we have a bass player in the band, and I don't even think he has that many basses. Like this guy has.
Oh yeah,
all the basses.
I'm sure they could have some serious discussions.
What is directly behind you on this
directly
pole?
Behind me?
What is this wood thing?
This is just a beam.
No, but above this thing hanging, what is that?
This?
Yeah.
It's just artwork.
Oh, okay.
Plank of wood with an owl painted on it.
Oh, I wasn't sure if it was like some kind of like special like weed smoking pipe or something. No.
No.
Okay.
No, purely decorative.
Purely decorative. All right.
Purely
well,
decorative.
Kids.
So yeah, I only had one more note.
He has another note. He didn't even get through it all.
No, I saved this one for you.
Oh, okay.
This is information you might want to know as well. So the writer's credit on this episode went to one Harley Payton, whose most famous credit before working on Twin Peaks was the screenplay for Less Than Zero, the Andrew McCarthy and Robert Downey Jr. film.
I don't know if I've ever seen that. I don't know if I get that.
That's an 80s classic.
Less Than Zero.
Less Than Zero. He did go on to have some further screenwriting credits. Heaven's Prisoners, which was an Alec Baldwin vehicle in 1996. He was also credited with writing the movie Bandits in 2001. That one featured Billy Bob Thornton, Bruce Willis,
Bandits.
and
Blanchett.
Bandits.
I know Bandits.
Mm-hmm.
That's like based on a true story, right?
Is it? I don't know.
I think it's based on a true story.
I did not see that one, so I couldn't tell you. Anyway, his current projects are most recent projects. He was the EP and showrunner for the Dracula series that starred John Rhys Davies.
Mhm.
Currently, what he's working on are the Chucky series and Reginald the Vampire on Sci-Fi, which stars Jacob Batalon from the new Spider-Man films.
I will say this, Gabe. The multiple editors, cinematographers, directors, I feel like it's pretty consistent right now. Like, the show seems, if it's Lynch and Forrest's, Mark Forrest, right?
Frost. Mark Frost.
Frost,
Yeah.
Forrest. Come on, same difference. If it's their idea and they created this thing from the pilot into this, it seems really cohesive right now. Like, there's like, and maybe just keep being weird works. Maybe, I don't know if it changes. I don't know. We'll find out together, obviously. You don't have to tell me if it does or doesn't, but I don't really care about that. But I do feel like it does feel very cohesive right now. Like, it does feel like, even if it wasn't directed by Lynch or whatever, it does feel the same as the last episode that was directed by Lynch. You know, it does feel cohesive and singular.
It keeps a lot of the same tone, and I don't think that's accidental, being as like the person who directed this episode is a pretty close collaborator with him already.
But you want to keep the mood, right? You want to try and maintain that mood, and I feel like this so far, even if it's a different director, you know, same creators but different writer or different editor or whatever, this episode does maintain that, you know, cohesiveness. Same poor directing on the actor's part, you know, it just carries over.
At least they're maintaining a theme throughout. They've got a tone, they've got a theme that they're sticking with, and everybody that's on the project seems to be on board with that. It's not like all over the map by any means.
I will take this. I will like take this spoiler if you have it. Is there a point where the show does feel like it just like shifts like a mood, like it's no longer like, is there an episode or like a mood, like a point in like a season where it's just like it's no longer this, it just feels like, whoa, we just handed it over to the production company or the broadcast, or like the studio? Is there ever a moment
where you feel like they're out of creative control?
Yeah, like it just doesn't feel like this is it anymore.
Yes, I would argue there are several points
next
season 2 where it starts to feel like that.
Whoa.
You start to see a lot more network interference at that point.
Okay.
You don't get any of that with The Return. Like, The Return is pure, uncut Lynch and Frost.
Does this season get untouched? This season is untouched for the most part?
For the most part, I would argue, yeah.
Okay.
That this got to play out exactly as they wanted it to play out.
I'm excited for it to play out then. Because it's so fucking just weird. So, anyway.
It is, and it definitely gets weirder.
Cool. All right.
So yeah,
we did the trivia. You guys can hit us up at blankasafart@gmail.com.
blankasafart@gmail.com.
Pod. blankasafart.pod.com. If you want to, at gmail.com. Sorry. If you want to email us, but you can just hit us up on the socials. What are the socials, Gabe?
That's right. The Instagram is blank as a fart. The Threads is blank as a fart. Facebook is blank as a fart.
All blank as
We're
a fart.
pretty easy to find.
Just hit us up. Let us know what you think.
Say hello. Leave us a comment.
We would
share, subscribe.
We would love to read out your comments and let us know what you think.
Tell us again where we can find these episodes once they've been posted.
Yeah, so you can find the episodes on all major podcast platforms. So whatever your podcast platform is of choice, Google, Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, just search The Couch Co-op Show. Search it. It'll pop up, and then you'll find Blank as a Fart right there. It was one of the episodes. You just look for it. It's right there. And then you can also find us live on Twitch.
Every Wednesday at
8 p.m., baby. We'll be live here.
That is.
That allows you, because it's on Twitch at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, you can log in You don't have to log in. You can just like come in, but you can just like you can ask us questions live on the show and be like, "Is Ian really that stupid?" Or, "Man, Gabe, you should play one of those basses." You could do all kinds of that shit. Like.
I don't think I'll get to record another
He
episode
could be
from here, but
Gabe.
who knows?
He could be like, Gabe, just open up one of those Funko Pops, up there.
Funko Pops. No Funko Pops here.
Is that not what those are?
Lots of figures. No.
Those at the top
wait.
are not Funko Pops?
Where, right? Like along the wall behind me?
Yeah, up at the top in the corner. What are those?
Nope. We got some Muscle Men.
Oh, Muscle Men. All right. I thought they were like in Funko
a couple
Pops.
of mini Masters of the Universe figures.
All right. Never mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, just you can hang out with us live on the show. A lot of fun. I'm gonna pay one of my friends to come in and like hang out with us, just so people know that we can do that.
And I'll pay one of my friends to come in and tell Ian he's being too hard on
exactly. And then just youtube.com/milkmanpictures where you can find all our content. But like you can find Blank as a Fart, but all the content. I make a lot of content. You know what's funny about the content on my content? This is stupid this week, Gabe. I do a show called Milkman Drinks a Beer. I have like 260 some episodes. This week, the Milwaukee's Beast Ice episode is off the chain right now. We're almost at 500 views. It's only been 10 days. It's like I don't understand.
Milwaukee's Best?
Yeah, Milwaukee's Best Ice. It's just like I drank it out in my garage. I drank it like a year ago, and then I I don't want to get into how. Anyway, I drank it. I released this not this week, last week, and it's just been off the hook. I had so many comments. It's fucking stupid.
Like the GameStop stock of beers or something.
I don't know.
Like
I don't know why people are
interested.
It's just
a meme beer.
It's part of the Milwaukee's Beast is part of the algorithm, Gabe. It's part of the algorithm. It's like we should probably be drinking Milwaukee's Beast while we talk about.
They must have a great marketing team or something.
Anyway, that's where you can find our show. We really appreciate you guys all. Gabe, you have any final words for the people?
I did have one final word. I didn't actually get to view it because I couldn't watch on the DVD set, but the Log Lady's intro for this episode is all about overcoming the sadness in our life, which I thought was fascinating.
Right.
But the line she leaves you with in the introduction is, "One day the sadness will end." So I like that line. I think I'm going to go forward and use it a lot more often. So just keep that in mind, folks, wherever you're at. One day the sadness will end.
Especially in this day and age.
Especially next Wednesday.
Especially in this fucking day and age, man.
Right? Yeah. A lot of sadness to be found. But one day it'll end. Maybe next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Even.
Unless you're one of our listeners that votes for Trump that is excited for this world. Wait, do you imagine any of our listeners
that wouldn't vote for Trump?
Probably. We probably have a few of them.
I really can't picture any. Not the ones I know personally anyway, but anywho, on that note,
I love you,
we'll
Gabe.
See you all next week, folks. Love you too, Ian.
I'm looking forward to a donut next week, but
I certainly hope so, yeah. Something sweet for the palate.
All right.
We'll catch you next Wednesday, folks, 8 p.m. Pacific. Thanks for tuning in.
Listen to the music. I know you can't hear it, but it's pretty good.
I know it is.